Welcome to this first ever gathering of hundreds of organizations and several thousand adults and youth committed to the success of our nation's young. This is absolutely awesome, and let me tell you, you look absolutely radiant. The Big Tent. You know how huge the Big Tent is? It stretches all the way up Interstate 35 from Houston, 1,000 miles north, to Minneapolis. Who knew? And the Big Tent actually stretches to the Atlantic, the Pacific, and across the oceans to those nations also dedicated to putting children first. You might be asking yourself, what am I doing in Minneapolis and not in Houston? Well, I'm dealing with a little medical condition, and my doc says you need to do a 90-day travel ban. You cannot be subjected to germs or bacteria. I said, what? There are no germs in Houston, and there are no germs in the Big Tent. She gave me this look like, say what? Are you really all right? She won. My doctor won. Travel ban. I wish I was there, but we are connected, you and I, right now by technology, and more important, we are connected by common purpose of growing great and healthy kids in our nation. So why the Big Tent? Why now? Because this nation desperately needs something new and bold and audacious. Something new, bold, and audacious. Why is that? Well, as we continue to do good work in our organizations, and all of us are doing good work, as we continue to do good work, guess what happens? Well, more kids are slipping into poverty. In fact, in the last few years, another 1 million young people have moved into poverty. What else is happening in our country? We're cutting funding for schools and programs. How can we possibly do that? We are eliminating teachers, eliminating counselors and social workers, cutting arts and music. That is a tragedy. As each of us does good work in our organizations, there are too many of our young people who are slipping out of our schools and dropping out. You know, it's an amazing fact that 30 years ago, the United States, of all developed nations, was first in the percentage of young people who graduated from high school and first who graduated from college. What is it now? We're 18th among developed nations. How does that happen in such a relatively short period of time? Today, there are 14 million young people who will go home from school with nobody there, alone, absolutely alone. There are 3 million young people who are runaways and homeless, who are sleeping under our bridges and on our streets. How can we allow that to happen? The depth of the issues in America about losing our kids is profound. In fact, in some ways we could argue that right now the United States is rather mediocre in the way it supports and provides opportunities for our young. I think actually one of the things that is most troublesome is that the majority of adults in our country are on the sidelines, depriving our young people of the relationships, connections, a sense of purpose, the promotion of their spark, that only adults in informal settings, in neighborhoods and in communities can do, but many are on the sidelines. So something new, something bold, and something audacious needs to rise up in our nation. There's another reason why the Big Tent is critical, because we need a place annually for a couple days where hundreds of young people can blend their voice and their energy with adults in building the big dream for what America needs to become. We need the Big Tent in order to find common voice, common purpose, and a sense of urgency about our young. And man, do we need to build connections across all of our organizations. We do work in silos. Young people need all of us. In this room today are people from early childhood all the way through the college years, people representing family, neighborhoods, congregations, schools, community programs. Young people don't need some of us, they need all of us to grow up to be what they can be. Connection. It reminds me of a well-known Ethiopian proverb, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion.